And honestly, I feel like when Aaron said that, my dad left. The spirit of my dad, ROFL'd. He got a good kick out of that. Because my dad had a great sense of humor. He had a really good sense of humor. One time, every time I use our bidet, I think of my dad. We need some context for that statement.
Welcome to the Dishes Can Wait podcast. Join us at our table for thoughtful, funny conversations that flow so easily you'll forget to check the time. We hope you feel like a welcomed guest in our home, part of a circle of friends who linger after dinner for the stories, the laughter, and the kind of connection that makes the hours slip away unnoticed. Because the dishes can wait, but good conversation can't.
You want to start with the icebreaker?
Yeah.
So the icebreaker, so last time we talked a little bit about deconstruction. And so one icebreaker I thought we could talk about would be, even though we're kind of past that, there are still some of those songs
Oh boy.
that you and I still sing that still slap. And thought we'd maybe talk about some of those few songs that you still hold dear to,
From our
even in this next stage of life.
from our CCM days.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that question. My number one is probably Testify to Love
Avalon.
by Avalon. We've talked about how I like curating a playlist. There's a playlist that I have. I call it my cabaret set. That is just a large song selection. If I ever have my own cabaret,
Uh-huh.
this is
As one does.
This is the pool of songs that I would pick from. And not long ago, I was like, oh, Testify to Love would be a good one. And then I looked it up just on Apple Music, and there's several different versions. Winona Judd has a version.
That's cute.
And I love Winona Judd.
How's that song go?
All the colors of the rainbow, all the voices of the wind, a dream that reaches out to find where love begins. Okay. I started that really high. Hers is very low, though, so I would have to change the keys. Anyways, that's one. And another one I love is How Great Thou Art. I love it because it's just talking about awe and wonder of the universe.
That was one of mine.
Is it? I'm sorry, I took yours.
Like, Then Sings My Soul.
It's and also it's sentimental for me because when my dad was on his deathbed, he asked me to play Carrie Underwood's version, and we just sat there and sang it together in the hospital room. So it's precious.
Still gives you the feels.
It does. Okay, yours. Sorry, I stole one of yours.
You stole the main one that I thought of. I mean, we did bust out with a lot of DC talk there for a little while until...
Those are earworms for me. Oh, until
until
Michael Tate.
Well, just, the backlash and everything with DC talk. And,
Yeah. I can put links
the
to
hypocrisy and all of that.
I can put links to news articles for people to read about what happened to that if they're interested
I
in
kind of
going
shifted
down a
that
rabbit
one
hole.
a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's one that we bust out with a lot. Like we go
Down with the DC talk.
yeah, and then I bust out with Then Sings My Soul pretty regularly.
You do.
I feel like almost every Saturday night, that's kind of our connection night. That almost every Saturday night we bust out with
At some
some of these
point,
songs.
Yeah, some old 90s.
I mean, sometimes we
CCM
just
music.
go down the playlist, right? We'll just like go, okay, let's listen to some Amy Grant. Let's go to Michael W. Smith, right?
Oh, Amy Grant. I'm in the mood for some Amy Grant now.
Like she got a great Christmas album.
She does. She does.
What was the best Christian concert you ever went to?
Probably Natalie Grant. I love her voice. If there are a handful of people I wish I could sing like. If I could sing like anyone, it would be a mix between Natalie Grant, Kelly Clarkson,
Some belters.
right, and Stephanie J. Block.
Woo!
Like, talk about some belters.
Some powerhouse.
Like those three women. I'm like, their vocals just tickle something in my brain. I love it.
I think I would say, I think there's two. Like a sentimental one, I really enjoyed a Wayne Watson Christmas concert that I went to.
Yeah?
but that wasn't one of the two. One of the two was for sure Newsboys, seeing the Newsboys at Astroworld. I know.
At Astroworld.
I miss Astroworld. That was such a
R.I.P.
it was a theme park, right, in the Houston area that is no longer existing, and I cry about it and feel feelings at least quarterly.
I think even our children know where Astroworld used to be.
They know how sad we are about Astroworld.
Because every time we drive by, they're like, sorry, you have to feel the sad feelings.
I know.
That Astroworld is no longer here.
So that's one for sure. I also really enjoyed when I saw Carmen.
Okay, so I was going to ask you, the next question was, what was your first concert? Because my answer was Carmen's Riot Tour at the Astrodome.
I was there.
That blows my
I
mind.
know. I was there.
I love things like that. You know what I want? When I die and I get to wherever you go after you die, I want... What are you doing?
I'm just...
You're playing the guitar.
Oh, by and by. When I get... Okay.
Is I want some sort of movie reel of all of like my paths crossing with people. Like you and I were at the Astroworld concert at the same time. I want to see us at that concert at the same time.
We had another like church camp that we were both at one point.
Yes.
Right? Like it's wild. That's years before we met.
I want to tell that story now. I was in youth group. You were in youth group. And there was some sort of like youth group event.
There was a youth group event. And it was kind of in a very southern place. I was in the worship band at that point.
Oh, yeah? But it was like a youth group event for local youth groups. And we played a game. I don't remember ever seeing you, but we ended up playing a game and separating into groups, and we built buildings out of dry spaghetti noodles and marshmallows. And that event ended, didn't think about it, and then we met, and I met your friends Sean and Michelle, and I'm like, oh my gosh, y'all look so familiar. This was years,
yeah.
I was like, I know that I know y'all from somewhere. One day, all of a sudden, like the light bulb went off, and I was like, y'all are the people I was paired with at this youth group event. And we built this structure together out of dried spaghetti noodles and marshmallows, and it just blew us all away. That's wild to me.
Wild.
Okay. First concert. What was your first concert?
It was probably Jeff Binward.
From Jeff.
Well, him and his son got together later and did Aaron Jeffrey. But Jeff Binward, he would be like, set it into motion. I also saw Caveman's Call, like when they were just like before anybody knew them, like they came to our summer camp. Because I remember I'm going, I'm just a bus driver, and what do I know? Like we're like, yeah, bus driver.
That's funny. I was at a youth camp one summer, I think in high school, and I saw Super Chick. Super Chick came to...
I saw a Super Chick once.
I really enjoyed them. That's fun. I still like busting out with some Super Chick every now and then. It's delightful. I feel like I needed a break from all of that for a while, just because of religious trauma and deconstruction and everything. But I've come back into, it's kind of like a reclamation of it.
Right.
It's been really sweet.
So one of the things I thought we could talk about today is a very Hannah and Aaron conversation.
Should expect nothing less.
Yeah, so about death.
Okay. Phased me 0%.
Yeah, death and loss. So
do you guys ever think about dying? It's on my water bottle.
It's a sticker on your water bottle.
That line from the Barbie movie cracked me up.
So the question is like, not just death in general, like what does it mean? Not all of that, but more like maybe significant losses that we've had in our life, and then maybe how some of those losses have kind of shaped who we are. Do you want me to go first?
Yeah.
Or?
Yeah. I'm here for it.
Do you have this in you today?
I have it in me.
Because like, I can go a different direction.
I have it in me. Because I also, yeah. I'm going to write something down so I don't forget.
I
'cause
did ask if you had
I
heavy in you.
do have heavy.
And then you mentioned your dad, so it just felt right.
Don't look down at what I'm.
I'm already doing it. I'm already looking down.
But you go first.
Me go first. I think when I think of loss, the first significant loss to me is a death of a person. Because obviously there's different types of loss in death. There's death of relationships. There's death of a season, death of a flower, that kind of thing.
Salesman.
Yeah, death of a salesman. But the first significant one to me was my grandmother. I mean, she's somebody I think about on a regular basis. She passed when I was 15 when she passed. I mean, she was this sweet little tiny person of a human with a big spirit, the sweetest spirit. And yeah, I think about her loss a lot. I think about what a great grandmother she would be to our children. Like, she would love those kids to pieces. She taught me a lot of these early church songs that, honestly, to be honest with you, like, I've even talked about this with my sister. Like, I feel like some of these songs she just made up because, like, we'll sing them and, like, I try to Google them and I just can't find them. And so I think about her loss a lot because I also, her husband, my grandfather, also passed away years later. But honestly, it felt like two losses at once. Because when she died, he never really recovered, I don't think. And so that was a pretty significant loss for me.
Yeah.
But a sweet thing, because she taught me to play piano. I don't, that made it sound like I know how to play piano. I don't. Very like if you're going to go through the Alfred books, for anybody who's taking piano, Alfred, I could get through the first couple of books. That's about it.
I have not heard Alfred books since first grade. You unlocked a memory.
Unlocked. I mean, I could point out what notes are on a scale and all that kind of stuff, and play some scales. But I'm not going to be able to sit down and play some music. I can play like a chorus of one song. But I would always pick up her hand because she would talk about where my hand position was, and my hands were too rigid. And so she'd pick up my hand and kind of like shake it to tell me to loosen it up.
Do you remember her
It's almost like she had, oh yeah.
This is that might seem like a strange question, but
No, I clearly remember her hands.
because I very clearly remember my grandmother's hands, my granny's hands.
Oh, I know her hands very well. Like if they were sitting right here, like Thing from Addams Family, I would recognize it. I'd be like, that is Jeanette Kane's hand right there. So
There's something so precious about that. Because I remember sitting in church and my granny would put her hand on my leg and I would sit and she had an X, which I do too on this hands, but her veins they popped out and I would sit and try to like
push them back in.
Push them back in. And she had very bony knuckles and very thin, slender hands. Just sitting in the fields.
I wish you could have met her.
I do too.
She was special.
I do too. So we're talking about death and loss.
Yeah, and how they've shaped us. Oh, I'll tell you another way that loss helped shape me.
Okay.
Because this one took me a while to get over, even in therapy and things like that. I felt really guilty for years after my grandmother passed, because she had cancer, and it all happened fairly quickly. I remember that Christmas, and honestly, really knowing that was probably going to be it. But then soon after that, so that following summer, she was getting really close, and we were supposed to go on a vacation. And I remember feeling guilty because I thought her death might affect our vacation. And so that took me a while to really kind of process through and think through that. And so I say the way that shaped me is because it's one of the bigger lessons as a younger version of myself that I had to learn how to like forgive myself, have compassion for my younger version of myself. I mean, it's still something, not necessarily that part of that journey, but the compassion, self-compassion.
Yeah, because you were just a kid.
Yeah, I mean, well, and even now, I mean, we're going to make mistakes, but having self-compassion for areas that we've maybe messed up or felt guilty about, that was a big lesson in that.
Yeah. Yeah, because you didn't know the difference. You were a kid. I mean, when you're a kid, you're still in development and your frontal lobe isn't fully formed.
True.
And
I mean,
you just want to do the things you enjoy. And it's like, and death is such a huge concept, no matter the age, but I think especially for a kid, it's so big to grasp that I think the bigger meaning of it all doesn't fully hit you. Like leading up to the process,
Right.
or leading up to the event. And so you're just living in the present moment with your immediate desires. It makes complete sense that
What's weird maybe not the right word, but what's strange, I guess at that age, 15, I had just turned 15, I felt like I had a concept of all of it. Do you know what I mean? Like when I look at our own children though, I'm going, man, they're only, 3 years away from that, and they would have no concept of that. Or maybe they would have some concept, but then I get to go, oh, right? Like, I mean, we're talking, those are formidable years. Those like 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, like we're having these big things. So I felt like I was old enough to know better. That's why it took me a long time, because I felt like I was old enough to know better.
we, as kids, I think especially teens, we feel like we're so grown up, but then the older you get, the more like you still feel like a kid. Isn't that weird? It's sort of like,
Right, it shifts.
yeah. At what point, or if there's any point, do you kind of meet in the middle and be like, okay, I feel like I'm the right, like emotionally, cognitively, my age and my inside match
I
up.
think probably 4 and 5 years old.
Maybe. I don't know. Because I still, and I think that's also like parts therapy too. Like our inner child still shows up even as me, an almost 40-year-old woman. I'm reparenting my inner child on the regular.
Right.
And so maybe I just had like a bunch of thoughts all at once. Maybe you never feel completely grown up, because that version of you is always a part of you.
Right.
But then
That's
maybe
the way the brain works.
Yeah. But then also maybe when you're a kid, like there's a future version of you that's like pulling you and guiding you along. So it makes sense that that version of you exists inside of 4 and 5-year-old or 15-year-old you as well. I don't know. We can
And
really
now I
go
want to
down
watch
that.
Interstellar.
Oh my gosh. That's on Stephen Colbert's Colbert questionnaire. If I ever had the chance to do that, he asks what's your favorite action movie, and it would be Interstellar. I love that movie. So, death and loss that shaped us. Okay, my turn. Which I am fine answering this question. I remember my first experience with death. Okay, wait, back up. I've always had this weird fascination with death because I grew up in a super religious world that talked a lot about heaven, and the only way to get to heaven is you die. And so there's always this like, what happens after you die sort of thing. So I've thought about death a lot over the course of my life. Also, I think just being autistic and not diagnosed until I was 36 and living in a religious world, there's a lot of metaphor and I didn't understand it. So I would take things literally, and then I would ask questions about it, and that was considered like confrontational and disrespectful. So there was a lot of things that I had to like figure out on my own. Anyway, because my first real encounter with death was my papa died when I was 9 or 10, I think.
You say real encounter, you just mean like someone you know who
Someone I
died?
know. Yeah.
Okay.
Like the first funeral I remember going to and proximity to
Sure.
the person that I knew was my papa. And they kept saying things like, oh, he's in a better place. And my family believed in the rapture. And in my mind, the way, like, we couldn't be cremated because then our bodies couldn't raise from the dead when
Right.
Jesus came back. So that was the whole thing, which messed with my brain. And so I was just like staring at his body in his open casket. And I'm like, you're going to come out of there someday, which really freaked me out. Just like, I looked at it it was very clinical to me.
You're going to come out of there
I was
someday.
like, okay, you're going to be underground. And is the dirt just gonna like start flying up? And then I
Hocus pocus.
yeah, like Billy from Hocus Pocus just pops up out, and then he gets the knife and rips his mouth stitches open. Yeah, that's what I imagined.
That's what your grandpa was
That's
gonna
what Papa was going to do when Jesus came back. So it was like, I don't remember having like a lot of feelings about him dying, because honestly, he was kind of a jerk. I just remember him being very mean to me. So I wasn't really close to him. It was more of the emotions of the people around me that made me sad. Also, so at the viewing, or like, you have before the funeral, maybe the day before, you have a viewing. I just remember spending a lot of time at the funeral home, but maybe that was my child brain. It was maybe 2 hours and it felt like a whole day,
Mm-hmm.
But I was bored, and because there's a bunch of people coming in I didn't know, and they were all the adults were talking. I was like, I'm going to go exploring. And I explored a little too far.
Yeah, you did.
And I walked in on, I guess, the embalming room, and I saw a dead body on the table.
A cadaver.
So that's a very core memory for me.
We call that person John.
John Doe was laying on the table, and I was like, that's a dead person. I'm going to leave now. And I was 9 or 10. So there's that memory of when my papa died, just surrounded by, it just all seemed very dark and heavy, which of course it is, but it was the experience of everything feeling dark and heavy, but in contradiction to like, oh, we're supposed to be experiencing joy because he's no longer suffering.
Right.
Those two things didn't work for me. So it messed with my brain. And I didn't have anybody to turn to figure out how to feel. So I kind of just lived through that experience. I don't know where I put it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next one was my dad. My dad in 2016, I believe, was diagnosed with multiple myeloma.
Is that his first diagnosis?
Yes. And I just remember thinking, like, he'll make it through. Like, it'll be fine. There's a plan. He's going to be fine. And then he did go through a bone marrow transplant treatment, and he hung in there until early 2020, and he needed transfusions. He had to go back for treatment, and then
Which now we're in COVID.
Yeah. And you talked about like knowing it would be the last Christmas with your grandmother, and December 2020, my dad wasn't in the hospital and he was at home, and we were able to go see him and sit outside and wear masks. And I just remember he kept trying to give us things. And we, at that point, we drove a little tiny Fiat, and all four of us were in the car. I'm like, Dad, we can't take all this stuff. But I just remember thinking, like, say goodbye to this house, like, because this might be the last time you're in this house, and this might be the last Christmas with him. And then, like February or March, he was declining and ended up having to be in the hospital. And kept thinking, like, oh, once we get over this hump, then he'll be released. But he never got released, and then passed away in September. And there's more details surrounding him dying that are really hard, not just because he died, but have to do with my mother, who abused me my entire life, and I had cut off contact with her several years before, but he decided to stay married to her. And there's a lot I can get into with that, but more loss, and like, he was a good man. I loved him so much, but I had to put up some really hard boundaries with him and say, I want a relationship with you, but she's not allowed in our life. If you want to choose to stay married to her, you're going to have to keep that with you. I have nothing to do with her. And that was really hard. And one of the hardest ones was he thought he was going to be released. And at this point, she was with him. And he just really wanted to come over. And he would come over. And we would just sit out in the garage together.
With a cup of coffee.
With a cup of coffee. And just sit in the garage and talk about everything. And he really wanted to do that. And like one last time. But she was going to have to bring him. And I was like, I will come get you and I will bring you here. And he was like, it's just easier for her to do it. I'm like, Dad, you can't. No. Like, and I remember him getting mad at me. And we hung up angry. And I just sobbed because it was loss on top of loss on top of loss. But I also knew that he just didn't have the capacity to understand. And I believe that once we die, we get the full scope of everything. And so I knew that he was going to die. And I knew that in his human mind, he did not have the cognitive ability to understand, because he was also abused by her for decades. So it was this paradox, right, of like being so mad at him that he even asked that he was trying to push that boundary. And it just felt so disrespectful and mean. But I also had compassion for him because I knew his brain couldn't process anything. Because it wasn't the first conversation we had ever had about anything.
Like he chose a different path.
Yeah. And like I would sit and talk to him and about hard things doing with her. And I would see him glitch. And he would just, well, isn't the weather lovely? Like, look at that. Look. He just couldn't do it. But I still wanted a relationship with him because he was a tender, giving guy. And so, then he passed away, which was grief and loss. But then because he stayed married to her, she was his next of kin, and all of that. And so I didn't even go to his funeral because I can't.
Right.
So there's more loss, and then but I have to like rest in this, knowing that like I knew him more than probably anyone in his life.
Agreed.
And that even though external circumstances didn't look like that, and I felt really forgotten, that in the time since he's been gone, like there've been things that have happened that I know he's here with me.
Right.
And so honestly, I'm really grateful that my deconstruction happened before my dad died, because I'm able to process all of the spiritual death, afterlife things from a different lens.
Right.
That gives me more peace than I ever had inside of the Christianity that I was in.
Because it gave you space to grieve, right? It gave you space to grieve as opposed to
spiritual bypass everything.
Right.
Yeah.
He's in a better place, right?
He's not in any more pain. He's all that stuff. So in a weird way,
I've just been wanting to hold your hand the whole time. It feels weird not to.
So in a weird way, I don't know if this makes sense, but I don't want to say more connected to my dad since he's been gone. I feel a connection with him in a way I never could have when he was alive, because of his own trauma and circumstances in his life that affected his ability to come to terms with what had happened in his life. Like I've seen a medium. I've had really beautiful spiritual experiences since my dad's died through things like that, but then also on my own, like he shows up in my dreams, like just on Thanksgiving, which is what I wrote down. Just on Thanksgiving, woke up Thanksgiving morning from a dream where I was at my aunt's house in my dream, his sister, and it's a place that I spent a lot of time growing up. And I just wanted to go through her house just to like relive the memories, which was just neutral. And so I'm going through her house and I'm like, oh, this is the half bath. I remember going to the bathroom here. This is the kitchen, and you can look down on the kitchen from the banister, just like the little things that I remember. And then I walk down the hallway and I open the door to the garage, and my dad is sitting there in the DeLorean from Back to the Future, but his face in my, what?
I was just curious, like, if you looked like Doc.
He did not look like Doc. He looked like my dad, which was just perfect that he was sitting there in a DeLorean, because he was a car guy and a motorcycle guy, and he's like living his best afterlife. But when I open the door, he's sitting there in the DeLorean, but he looks at me like, oh shit, she caught me. Like he was just hanging out in my dream, kind of like sneaking around, but then I caught him in the garage. And then he tried to drive off or fly off in it, but then the DeLorean came back and he was like, come on, you're getting in. And we just like hung out together. And then it was time for my dream to be over. And we get in line, it was like the Guardians of the Galaxy ride at Disney World. And we get to the point where you go left or right to like get in the thing to go on the ride. And it was like, go left to go back to life, or go right to go to the afterlife. And I was like, can you come with me? And he was like, no, you can't. I can't come with you this time. So it was really sweet. It made me happy. And then he also showed up a couple months ago in a dream. And when I say he showed up, I mean, I felt like I was staring at my dad's face. And I was in the living room of my childhood home, and we were just like sitting in each other's presence. And he looks at me and he goes, Hannah, you are a visionary. And it was like he said that, like him, my dad, as I knew him. But he had
He would say that.
He would. I don't think he would. It's like he knew me in a different way than he did when he was alive. Right. And that's why I say, like, I feel like he knows me and I know him better now that he's not here, but it's still grief and loss. That was very woo-woo. And I know I'm here for the woo-woo. I know you're here for the woo-woo. And I hope listeners are here for the woo-woo too. So this is a good meaty one. The last one was meaty too. This one was meaty in a different kind of way. I cried in this one, which is fine.
Why don't we say something funny then? Okay. So let's talk about jokes that we've made about death as we wrap it up.
Okay. Well, let's pull a question from the sack of something too.
No, we gotta do the joke first. Was something funny that I said about your dad's death? But not immediately after. Because immediately after would have been insensitive.
This was maybe a year.
Probably, I was thinking
at least a year after. I don't remember why I said this. I don't remember why it came up. But I just remember...
You had to spend time in a hospital.
Was it my surgery?
I think you had to spend time in a hospital.
This was after my hysterectomy?
I think it was after your hysterectomy, yeah.
It was after my hysterectomy.
More loss? Yeet the ute.
Yeet the ute. Which was one of the best decisions I made ever.
True that.
It took 2 years for me to realize that, though. Anyway, we could do a whole episode on yeeting the ute.
We could.
Because I have some things to say about women's health care. Anyway. Okay, what am I talking about? Okay. I was laid up in bed, and I do not like being still. I have a hard time being still. I like to move my hands, move around. I like to be doing things, and I could not do things. My body would not let me. And I was just having so much compassion for my dad because he was laid up in a hospital for months. And I told Aaron, I go, man, I feel so sorry for my dad because he too loved to do. He was always doing like, not just for the sake of doing, but because he enjoyed it. Like he enjoyed doing the yard. He enjoyed being out in his workshop building things. He enjoyed being in nature. He was very outdoorsy, and he could not be outdoorsy from January 2021 until he died in September. And I felt so bad for him. And I was like, Aaron, Dad was stuck in a hospital bed. He was under fluorescent lights. He could not move. I was like, oh my gosh, that would have killed him. What was?
That's what you said.
I said that would have killed him. And you said. What'd you say?
What was the exact phrase I said? Well, he did die.
And honestly, I feel like when Aaron said that, my dad laughed. The spirit of my dad, ROFL'd. Is that right? ROFL'd.
Yeah, rolling on floor laughing.
He got a good kick out of that. Because my dad had a great sense of humor. He had a really good sense of humor. One time, every time I use our bidet, I think of my dad. We need some context for that statement.
I will tell the story. So we ordered a Hello Tushy.
Is that what it is? A Hello Tushy?
Hello Tushy.
Not just a Tushy?
It's called Hello Tushy. That's the name of the company.
Okay.
Hello Tushy. TUSHY.
Okay.
And this was week one.
Yeah, it's a bidet.
Of having
It's
said
a bidet that you hook up to your...
Hook up to the water.
Yeah.
Turn a switch and it shoots your glory hole.
You can't use that phrase. Shoots you in the booty hole.
You turn the water on and then magically you become clean. And I felt like after about a week or so I had it down pat. You know, knowing the trajectory, knowing the power, the strength of the water shooter. And so your dad came over, and we were so excited to show him a bidet. And he was actually really excited to see it.
We were like, Dad, we got a bidet. You should get a bidet. These things are amazing.
That's not something we normally do.
No.
Like, I don't think we've ever done that with anybody else.
No.
But we did with
And
your
this
dad.
is why. Because Dad was the first one.
But I don't think I would with anybody else.
No.
I knew your dad would appreciate the bidet.
Yeah.
Like, that's just like his nuance and quirkiness that...
He just
you
likes,
know,
like,
his
household
own
things.
autism.
Yeah.
That I knew he would enjoy that. And so we took him upstairs. And I was like... He was standing at probably about 5 feet in front of the toilet or so. And I was like, man, let me just show you. Let me just show you the... And so I turned the water on.
You can either wash the nozzle.
Yeah, you can either wash the
you
nozzle,
can-
it shoots down, or you can shoot it up, you know.
Which is what it's intended
to
for.
do its thing. And I turned it on just so you could see the little stream kind of looking like a little...
Like a little water
like a
fountain.
little water fountain, exactly. Problem is, it was not a little water fountain. It was a straight super soaker, and it shot him right in the chest. Right?
And he just laughed. He
got his-
thought it was so funny.
He's got his plaid shirt on, and I just shoot him right in the
Just
chest.
shot him 5 feet away from the toilet.
Bidet water.
Like it was a Nerf super soaker. I feel him laughing right now.
So funny.
He's like, I'm so glad you're telling this
And
story.
I felt so bad for shooting
Aw.
bidet water at him.
Oh, that was a lovely
Closure.
yes. We had tears, and now we have a sweet little story.
We got the LOLs.
And now
Little sacco.
we pull something from the sack of something. I'm gonna do it this time. Okay.
Oh, poo. And every time.
You do say this
I
every
do.
time.
I think of poo every single time.
Oh.
Oh, Piglet. I think I do that too.
You do it every time. I edit these and I'm like, oh, he said that in the last one. Oh, he said that in the last one.
Oh, Piglet.
Okay. What am I qualified to give advice about? Ooh, I like that question. Are you going to answer for me first? What am I qualified to give advice about?
Qualified is a tough word.
It is qualified. It is hard.
What are you qualified to give advice on? I think the better question is, what are you not qualified to give advice on? I think you're a wise sage with very deep empathy, and you're able to see a lot of people's story. I mean, you could talk about adoption, you could talk about parenting, you could talk about being autistic, you could talk about being a woman, you could talk about Enneagram, you could talk about patriarchy, you could talk about religion, social norms, maybe not cooking. I think you could learn that one. But I think there's a lot of things you can give advice about.
Oh, that's
How to be okay with not being okay, how to teach people how to be comforting for people who are struggling, how to love people well,
That's really sweet. I mean, I can think of, like, you're saying all these things that
how
I
to
could.
write, obviously, like how to love yourself well, how to be kind to yourself, boundaries. I mean, there's a lot. Mental health, self-care.
I'm just like, damn, you gave a whole lot. And I
You notice-
receive it, but I was also thinking of the things that I should not give advice about. Like, I shouldn't give medical advice.
I don't think I said medical advice.
I know, but you said, what can you not give advice about? That's the thing you started out with, and that's the tiny little thing that my brain
That's all
latched
you heard.
onto.
Do you want me to repeat it?
No, I got it.
So basically-
I'll listen to it. No, I did hear what you said. Thank you. Those were very kind. Those were very kind. Thank you.
Cool.
No,
Good
no.
episode.
You sit down
I am sitting
and
down.
you listen to me now. Say nice things about you. You are most qualified to give advice about several things. You are a licensed professional counselor, so you are qualified to give mental health advice by your credentials. I think that you can give advice about marriage and relationship dynamics. I think that you are really good.
Hair growth?
Yeah. That you're really good at growing hair
Right.
on your face only.
Wow.
You have a really good way of helping people grasp and understand things. So you're a good teacher, especially when it comes to relationships. Just how you help people understand where other people are coming from. Like, you taught me the concept of validating other people's perspectives.
Yes, I did.
You did.
I validate you, babe.
Because I am, it's like the song for good. You have taught me so many things, and I have been changed for good, and I am who I am today because I knew you, because I came from just a rough background, and we would get into arguments, and you'd be like, can you see where I'm coming from? I just need you to validate me. And I would be like, I validate you. Because I thought that was validation, because no one had ever taught me. Again, I was never taught what to do with my feelings and with death. I just kind of had to figure it all out on my own, and you helped me figure it out. And so you're very qualified to help people figure things out like that. Emotional intelligence.
Those are all wonderful, sweet things you said.
You're also qualified to give, food things, cooking. Great cook. You are, stop it. You are qualified to talk about cooking and brisket. Brisket. Yes.
Not brisket.
What is the barbecue?
No.
Yeah, well.
Veto.
No, you are. I could have vetoed some of yours. So
Incorrect.
Yes, you are. Don't negate it.
I don't agree with that one at all.
I mean, sure, you
The
still
rest
have
of 'em
things
you're
to
spot on.
learn. You still have things to learn, but like you're in it. You're doing the thing, and you're qualified to give advice about it.
Okay, then we can end with a song. He knows my name. That's what I was thinking about when you were talking about your dad. Because you're like, he knows me better, and I wanted to go. So basically, you're saying he knows your name now. I was so about to do that.
Well, thanks for hanging out with us this episode. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Thank you so much for being here and listening. If you enjoyed this conversation, follow the show and subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify so you never miss an episode. You can also join the conversation and subscribe to our Substack or follow us on social media. You can find all those links and everything we're up to at thedishescanwait.com. We'll see you next time on the Dishes Can Wait podcast.